Hello, and welcome to Rise and Unwind. I'm Chris Malony. Each week, we connect with people across the country to share ideas, inspiration, and simple ways you can enjoy life right in your own neighborhood. On this week's show, we've got that and plenty more.
MOSAIC's an annual celebration here in the Palm Beaches. It stands for Month of Shows, Art, Ideas, and Culture. And we offer about 35 special deals and experiences here during the entire month of May.
With some nutrition inside of it. So they would do like this open-faced sandwich with cheese on top and grill that.
I think anything with me, Mark, and Sacha Baron Cohen was a lot of fun. And anything with Molly Shannon, because I'm a big SNL nerd.
So sit back, relax, and let's rise and unwind.
Have you ever dreamed of high-speed getaways, dusty back roads, and that 1970s crime world where danger is just a pit stop away? You know, Max's new series, Duster, might be your next obsession. From Emmy winner J.J. Abrams and showrunner LaToya Morgan, Duster stars Josh Holloway as a getaway driver trying to outrun his past, and Rachel Hilson, a trailblazing FBI agent who's got her sights on taking down the dangerous crime syndicate. And come on, man, we got them both here to talk all about it. Welcome to the show, you two.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Josh, you play a getaway driver in the 1970s Southwest. What kind of drew you to this role, and what makes Duster different than some of the other crime dramas out there?
Wow, everything drew me to this role. First of all, it was JJ and LaToya Morgan, and I was like, that's incredible on its own. It's such a rich era to explore. The 70s, just with fashion and music and cars and everything. It was just a dream come true to get a phone call like this. I'm like, absolutely, I'm in, 100%.
And Rachel, your character is an FBI agent in the 70s. What kind of preparation or mindset did it take to try to bring Nina to life?
Yeah, it did take some prep. I had the opportunity to speak to several former agents, a couple of which were Black women who joined in the early 80s. So getting their insights was invaluable. I read a bunch of books. I watched a bunch of movies, read all about Nixon and the Panthers just before and their their conflicts with the FBI and the Black community's conflicts with the FBI, and just sort of tried to get a well-rounded picture of where I was coming from and where I was in 1972. Yeah.
And there's a heck of a lot of grit and style in the show. What kind of world are viewers stepping into when they pretty much hit play on this?
Wow. It's kind of like a modern Western. It feels like it's like this. The desert is a character in itself. The car moves you between scenes, so it's got this high-octane driven pace, and then it's so character driven. You never know what character you're going to run into, so it's just like that. It's like a Pulp Fiction, lock, stock, two smoking barrels type adventure. Yeah.
There was something that JJ said, I think a couple weeks ago that was like, it's sort of like what a show that was made in the 70s would look like if, it was just elevated a little more.
If it was done good.
If it was done well.
Josh, Rachel, thanks for joining me this morning. Duster is streaming now on Max, so check it out at max.com or search Duster on your Max app to start watching. Josh, Rachel, thanks for joining me this morning, my friends.
Thank you, Dan.
More than 60 years of rock and they're still filling arenas. From Rock You Like a Hurricane to Wind of Change, the Scorpions have sold over 110 million records and helped define rock for generations. Now they're heading back to Las Vegas for a brand new residency celebrating 6 decades of music. So joining us from Germany, we've got Klaus Meine and Matthias Jabs of Scorpions. It's great to have you both here. How are you?
Great.
Very good. How are you? Thanks for having
us.
I'm doing good. All right. It's been 60 years. That's one heck of a long time for pretty much any business. When you look back, what stands out most about the journey from those in the early days in Hanover to now headlining another Vegas residency.
Oh, it's crazy when you think about it, you know, because for German band, when we started out in the early 70s, writing lyrics in English, you know, it was a big dream, you know, to say one day we'll play the United States. And when we had the chance to come over in 79 and throughout the 80s, you know, this dream came true, you know, and it's a wonderful thing after so many years that we're still together, still playing a global stage and, still rocking like a hurricane. And we can't wait to come back for another residency in Vegas in September and hope many, many fans from all over the place will join us and see us there.
And songs, like you mentioned, Rock You Like a Hurricane, No One Like You, and Winds of Change, still connect with new audience. What do you think gives those songs that staying power?
I mean, first of all, with No One Like You, I think we were in 1982 with a Blackout tour. We were the most played radio song on rock radio, at least, and gave us the headline status in the States touring, and then followed by Rock You Like a Hurricane. The 80s were extremely good for the Scorpions, and with Wind of Change, we topped it all in the early 90s, and those are three iconic songs which we still play live and which carried us through the decades, you know, plus many other songs like Still Loving You, Big City Nights, whatever we have. And all those greatest hits we will play on stage at the Residency in Vegas. Yes, Vegas has become a home base for you. The last couple of years, and I think we talked last year, what makes this residency different from the previous runs you've done? We have to find out. I mean, we are still on the 60th anniversary tour. We will always play the greatest hits because, you know, there's such a great demand from the fans. But we have time enough to think about something very special. So when you build the set list for a show like this, how do you balance the massive hits with some of the deeper cuts and maybe even some new material?
They have to be a good balance, you know, because there's so many songs that the fans want to hear, definitely, you know, and so we throw in songs also from Rock Believer, our latest album, you know, so like songs like Gas in the Tank, but also all-time classics like The Zoo, Loving You Sunday Morning, Tease Me, Please Me, you know, all these rockers, and a couple of beautiful ballads like Send Me an Angel are in the set as well, you know, so many songs we just have to play, and then we think about on digging deep into some other material we haven't played for quite a while.
So after 6 decades, what still excites you about walking on stage and hearing that crowd?
The fans. I mean, it's a roar of the audience. The minute you go out, you might be nervous before you walk out on stage, but the minute you see the fans, you're connected and it clicks, you know, and together we have a magic evening, rocking out like crazy. And especially in Vegas, there couldn't be a better place to celebrate 60 years of Scorpions.
Hey, I want to thank you two for joining me today. Scorpions coming home to Las Vegas. 60 plus years of Scorpions kick off this fall at PH Live at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Tickets are on sale now. Get them at Ticketmaster.com/ScorpionsVegas. If you ever wanted to hear those anthems live in one room, this is your chance. I want to thank you two one more time for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
And enjoy. Have a good day.
So what happens after you leave the biggest band in music history? For Paul McCartney, the end of the Beatles wasn't the end of the story. It was the start of a whole new chapter. Man on the Run from Oscar-winning director Morgan Neville takes us inside Paul's post-Beatles years, the launch of Wings, and a deeply personal decade that shaped his solo legacy. Morgan joins us today to talk about the film Paul McCartney, Man on the Run, which is now available on Prime Video. Welcome to the show, Morgan. How are you?
I'm very good. Good talking to you.
All right. The Beatles breakup is one of the most talked about moments in music history. What did you discover about Paul during that immediate aftermath that might surprise some of the fans out there?
I mean, so much. I mean, if you watch Get Back, Peter Jackson's kind of 8-hour version of the Beatles at the end, making Let It Be, you see Paul is driving everything. Songs are pouring out of him. And the question is, what happens the day that disappears? And what happens is that Paul has a true heartbreak. I mean, he's the one that wanted the Beatles more than anybody. And, you know, he essentially is told by John Lennon that John wants a divorce from the band. And Paul within 2 weeks runs off to Scotland with his new wife, Linda, and their new baby, Mary, and tries to figure out what he's going to do. Is he even going to make music anymore? And so these next few years, he really struggles. And that's the part of the story I don't think people really understand, and that whole life of him trying to figure out who he was if he wasn't a Beatle.
So what was that period for him, like creatively and personally, and him trying to find himself?
It was in some ways, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I mean, I think, publicly, the public was angry that because they were heartbroken. So how dare you guys break up? Why can't you just be the Beatles? What are you doing? And Paul's wife, Linda, takes a lot of flack for, did she help break up the band? Same thing happened with John and Yoko. There's just a lot of kind of anger, and the critics are saying, your music isn't as good as what the Beatles were. It was kind of an impossible shadow to escape, but that's Paul's mission. He has no choice but to try and escape it. So he tries and tries different things for years to kind of see who am I and what is my voice now as just Paul McCartney. And part of that then comes into fruition when he starts the band Wings. So it's the model he knows. I'm going to be in a band with some other people, and there's a camaraderie to it that makes me feel like I'm not alone. And through that, he finally starts doing albums like Band on the Run and becomes kind of more the Paul of who we know today.
And we also get to see some rare archival footage and a little bit of intimate family photography from Linda McCartney. How did those elements help you tell a more vulnerable side of Paul's story?
I mean, there's incredible footage we found. I mean, there's footage of Paul filming himself alone, writing songs at a piano, or with the kids, and the singing songs at Christmas time. There is a real intimacy to the footage. That's really the main thing I wanted to convey, that this is a story kind of from the inside out. It's a story where we really kind of understand what Paul was dealing with and how he was dealing with it. And you see an insecurity in Paul that I don't think you really see publicly.
So what do you think the story tells about resilience and reinvention?
I mean, I think it's a story, and Paul's story is how not to doubt your own creative instincts. I think, the world always wants you to doubt what you do and judge what you do. And I think Paul's strength at this time is, I'm going to do whatever the hell I feel like. And that's fine. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, fine. And he does some crazy things that work and things that don't work. He releases, Mary Had a Little Lamb as a 45, which, nobody particularly likes. But then he puts out Mull of Kintyre, which becomes the biggest selling single in England in history. So they're both kind of crazy ideas. But I think he was all about embracing the crazy idea at the time. So creatively, I think it's pretty inspirational.
And for some of the lifelong Beatle fans out there, or even some of the brand new fans that may just know Paul from today, what do you hope audiences may take away after watching Man on the Run?
I mean, I know, because everybody tells me this, when you're done watching the film, you're going to go listen to a lot of music because there's a lot of music to explore. But also just an understanding that Paul's a real person dealing with real issues that are actually pretty relatable.
Morgan, I want to thank you for joining me today. Paul McCartney, Man on the Run, is available now on Prime Video. It's an intimate look at a music icon, redefining himself in real time, and it's a must-watch for any music fan. Morgan Neville, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Great talking to you.
One bold idea turns a full-blown international mess in Balls Up. It's a fast, over-the-top comedy where marketing stunt goes completely sideways and it doesn't let up. And today, Walter Hauser plays Elijah right in the middle of the chaos. Paul, it's good to have you here, my friend. How are you?
Good to be here, man. Thank you for having me. Yeah, this movie, some people might find it far-fetched. Wahlberg and I play two guys who are kind of, co-workers, but also arch nemesises, as it were, if that's a word, nemesises. But we end up at this World Cup game, Brazil versus Argentina, and we ruin the World Cup, and the entire nation of Brazil is after us. So it may seem far-fetched, but, sports fanatics are pretty tribalistic. This is the biggest game of the year. And as we see in baseball sometimes, a fan will get involved in the outfield where they stick their hand out and literally make an outfielder miss a fly ball. So something like this could definitely happen. And far be it from me to think that the Brazil soccer fans wouldn't want to kill two guys that ruined the World Cup.
One way to ruin your life is have a slight moment out on a game or something like that.
Yeah.
The story of this kicks off with a pretty outrageous pitch. Let's just say it's a little nuts. What made you want to be part of this project?
I just feel like I'm a pretty ballsy actor in general, a lot of the things I do. So it felt like it was up my alley. I'm a little nuts.
Elijah gets thrown into some wild situations. How did you approach like playing this character who was basically trying to just keep up with the chaos? Was there any real life influence to build that character off of?
Elijah is a bit of a fish out of water. He really isolates and is kind of in his own world, kind of work obsessed. I don't think he's on a dating app. I don't think he has many male friends or camaraderie or community. So this film is really him stepping out of his comfort zone entirely. And not only does he make a new friend by doing that, he kind of tests his own fortitude. He has to kind of man up or balls up, so to speak, in the film. And that was fun to play as an actor. It's fun to have to rise to the occasion amidst feeling the ineptitude of the character.
And the comedy here is pretty bold, pretty big. What was the most fun moment for you to film?
Oh, man. I think anything with me, Mark, and Sacha Baron Cohen was a lot of fun. And anything with Molly Shannon, because I'm a big SNL nerd. I love Saturday Night Live, and she's one of my favorite people.
I can't wait to see you and Sacha together. You guys are like some of them. In my opinion, you two are some of the best actors I've ever seen.
Oh,
so
thanks, man.
You two on screen together is just going to be very, very fun to see.
We got some magic moments.
You're also sharing the screen with Mark Wahlberg. What was that dynamic like behind the scenes?
Mark is super generous, super funny. He has a playfulness to him, a sense of like almost like a naughty kid in school who's like, what can I get away with? Mark like has a mischievous side, and he's very funny and sharp and well read. So I got along with him swimmingly, and I hope people feel like we have good chemistry, because as we were doing it, it felt like we had good chemistry.
And I want to thank you for joining me today. Paul Walter Hauser, Balls Up is now streaming on Prime Video. So if you're looking for something fast, chaotic, and just a good time, it's ready to check out right now. Paul, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Dan.
Grilled cheese is one of those foods everybody has a memory with, and somehow it still holds up, which I guess it really melts the test of time. All right. They're laughing at me over here. I was trying to throw in some cheesy jokes. I can't talk about grilled cheese without cheesy jokes, all right? And with National Grilled Cheese Day coming up, people are finding new ways to turn something simple into a full meal. Chef George Duran has been putting some fun spins on it and making it a little easier to pull off at home. Good to see you, Chef. How are you, my friend?
Thanks for having me on, Dan. I'm doing great now that I heard your cheesy joke.
Good. I had one. That was it. Now I'm done for the rest of the day. No, we'll see. Grilled cheese has been around forever. And what makes it, or what is it about it that people like just love?
You know what? I mean, it's grilled cheese. It's nostalgic. It's tied to your childhood, family meals, and just the joy of mom and dad cooking you that grilled cheese sandwich. If you're not feeling well, the grilled cheese will make you feel so much better. It's comfort food at its purest.
All right, let's do the history. How did it go from cheese dream to what we know now?
Yeah, well, it's been around for about 100 years. And in the 1920s, sliced bread and processed cheese was invented so that the soldiers in the Navy could eat something that has with some nutrition inside of it. So they would do like this open-faced sandwich with cheese on top and grill that. But eventually by World War II, home cooks figured out they could add another slice of bread on it, put some butter, fry it up, and call it a day. It was called toasted cheese, toasted, melted cheese. Today, it's called grilled cheese.
And you're doing more than just the basic sandwich. What are some ways that people could work grilled cheese into different meals?
Yeah, Dan, you got to check this out. Today I made a croque madame. So essentially I've taken the grilled cheese, added some ham inside of it, a little bechamel, and fried egg on top for a perfect brunch. For lunch, I made a salad and I ended up making grilled cheese croutons. Just take the croutons by using the grilled cheese cubes, frying it extra, and popping it on top of the salad. If you're serving a beef stew or a chicken stew like I am tonight, I like to serve that with grilled cheese as well. And finally, for entertaining, this is called a soup bar. My kids love this, and I make different kinds of soups. People serve themselves, but I essentially cut these grilled cheese sandwiches into sticks and I serve it just like that. Everybody loves to dip their grilled cheese into different kinds of soup.
At home, what's the difference between like a decent grilled cheese and one that really hits?
Well, I mean, you want one that's actually perfectly cooked. So you want the brown on the outside, golden, crispy, and perfectly melted cheese. That balance can be a little difficult to achieve, and you need a lot of time to make sure that it works low and slow on top of your griddle. So the goal here is to make sure that you have that time to do it. And if you don't have that time, well, there are some solutions.
And for people who don't have a lot of time, like I said, what are some of the easier ways to still get that same result?
Yeah, well, I figured out recently, I found Lily's toaster grills. These guys come frozen, pre-grilled, in your freezer aisle. You just open it up, pop it in the toaster, and in a couple of minutes, you have that golden, perfect grilled cheese sandwich. It's like magic, actually, made with fresh baked bread, real cheese, 100% butter. And the best part is that cheese won't leak inside of your toaster. Even my kids come home like they did right over here, and they grab it out of the freezer, pop it in the toaster, and they have instant grilled cheese. You know, chefs like myself who don't have a lot of time, this is like a time saver for me. Zero prep, easy cleanup. This is the ultimate solution.
Yeah, especially if you work in an office and just want a good little hearty, warm snack. There you go. Where can people learn more if they want more ideas?
Yeah, you can check out Lilly'sToasterGrills.com. Go to the frozen aisle of your supermarket. You'll find these orange boxes with the grilled cheese on it. And for myself, it's at Chef George Duran. Any social media site, I will be there at Chef George Duran. Ask me any question you'd like. I will answer it for you.
That's excellent. Chef Duran, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on.
You know what happens when life throws everything at you before you even have a chance to figure it out? That's the idea behind Margot's Got Money Troubles, a series that follows a young woman navigating money, identity, and some very unexpected choices along the way. Today, we're joined by Ruthie Thorpe, the author behind the story, and Eva Anderson, executive producer and writer on the series, to talk about bringing this bold, funny, and very real world to life. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, Ruthie, this story started as your novel. What was the moment that you knew Margot's story had to be told in this way?
Well, I think the whole book really began to come together. I'd had this idea for a character who was both a mother and an OnlyFans model, but when I brought in her father, who is an ex-pro wrestler, that's when the draft really started to come alive, was watching the two of them together.
So, Eva, when you came on to help adapt it, what stood out to you about Margot as a character?
I mean, Margot's such an interesting character in Ruthie's book. She's very resourceful. She's scrappy. You know, early in the book, she gets pregnant, has an affair with her college professor and gets pregnant, but is very she doesn't blame anyone for it. She just decides to take what life has given her and make something of it. And because of that, you get to follow her into all these really interesting places. She's also just like very funny, and she's very loving, and she's a great mom, and she's a great OnlyFans model. She's somebody you really want to root for, Margot.
And the show balances humor with some really real life struggles. How did you find that tone without losing either side? And how much did you pull from real life moments?
I mean, it all came from Ruthie's book. She has this really interesting tone that's both very, very funny and at times very dark. And I think a lot of it was just our cast. You know, we had Elle Fanning playing Margot, Michelle Pfeiffer playing Cheyenne, her mother, and Nick Offerman playing Jinx, her father, the pro wrestler. And those three could really balance so much in terms of putting them through really difficult things while never losing their heart and their humor and their love for each other.
And there's a lot of themes here. There's money, identity, motherhood, even some internet culture. What do you hope audiences take away after watching?
I hope that they feel more empowered to make their life something they want on their own terms.
The book's and the show's very non-judgmental, and I hope that they don't judge other people and they approach the people they love with love.
And now that people can watch it, what are you most excited for audiences to experience or react to?
Nicole Kidman wrestles Nick Offerman in a pro wrestling ring. And so that's pretty exciting.
I just love getting to see Elle Fanning, this feral and sort of bestial and very much a wrestler's daughter. And also the portrayal of that first postpartum period, I feel like is more accurate than I've seen on TV. And I'm excited for people to see her this way.
You buried the lead with Nicole Kidman and Nick Offerman there. All right.
Yeah. And Michelle Pfeiffer sings. That's also important.
All right. I'm excited for all of this. Margot's Got Bunny Travels is now streaming on Apple TV, so you can catch up on the series and see why so many people are already talking about it. Hey, I want to thank you, too, for joining me today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for having us.
Spring in Florida isn't just about the weather. It's also one of the best times to explore local arts and culture. In the Palm Beaches, that means a full month of special events, exhibits, and even discounted experiences for families and visitors alike. Joining us now is Lauren Perry, Associate Vice President of Cultural Tourism for the Cultural Council for Palm Beach County, with a closer look at MOSAIC. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you so much.
Now, for viewers who may not be familiar, what exactly is MOSAIC?
MOSAIC's an annual celebration here in the Palm Beaches. It stands for Month of Shows, Art, Ideas, and Culture. And we offer about 35 special deals and experiences here during the entire month of May.
Awesome. What are some of the standout experiences people can take advantage of this year?
We have a lot of BOGO admission deals. So if you like to explore art museums, like at the Norton Museum of Art here in West Palm Beach, we have the Jupiter Inlet Lighthouse that you can climb. We also have a number of discounts for special shows happening at the Kravis Center for the Performing Arts, the Arts Garage. And then, of course, lots of activities for families, whether you want to visit a science museum, the Murakami Museum and Gardens. We also have 2 other botanical gardens to explore. There's really lots of things to do for all ages here during the month of May.
We hear a lot about supporting local arts. Why do programs like this really matter for a community?
Well, we're known as Florida's cultural capital, and we like to have MOSAIC celebrate the creativity and diversity of coming to the Palm Beaches while also allowing a little more accessibility, maybe to experiences that people haven't done before.
Where can people go for more information?
Sure, visit mosaicpbc.com. You can find deals and even discounts on hotel stays if you're coming in from out of town.
Excellent. Lauren Perry, thank you so much for joining us today and helping me fill out my calendar for the next few weekends.
Great. We hope to see you here soon.
That's it for Rise and Unwind. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about the show, visit our website at riseunwindtv.com. And for behind-the-scene moments and celebrity interviews, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rise Unwind. You can also find our full episodes on YouTube under the same name at Rise Unwind. Until next week, I'm Chris Malony. Thanks for spending a little time with us on Rise and Unwind.